visit of Honorable Prime Minister probably brings the US-India relationship to a new level, a level that has not been seen before.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi's landmark visit to the United States has been very successful with several substantive outcomes.
This visit, according to me, was one of the more important events economically and otherwise that happened.
Prime Minister Shri Narendra Modi ji and President Mr. Joe Biden have fostered exceptional progress.
The visit of Prime Minister Modi to the United States is indeed historic.
This visit will be remembered as a path-breaking visit.
Historic state visit being accorded to Honorable Prime Minister Modi by President Joe Biden is reflective of the strengthened engagement between our two great and large democracies. The scale of the Indian market and its requirements, combined with our overlapping strategic interests, create both an opportunity and imperative for businesses on either side to one, cooperate and expand bilateral trade and commerce. Two, strengthen the engagement, including strategic sectors such as defense, space, 5G, semiconductors, amongst others. Three, collaborate to co-develop critical and emerging technologies. The US-India Initiative on Critical and Emerging Technologies, ICET, is an excellent platform that defines a new paradigm for high technology collaboration. Representing industry, I should particularly thank both Prime Minister Modi and President Biden for placing special emphasis on promoting industry, startups, and academia linkages on either side, encouraging co-development and co-production of critical systems and platforms, identifying avenues for joint research and development in advanced technologies.
We in CII believe that MSMEs are the backbone of our country's growth, of the country's industry. And therefore, the MSMEs finding mention in the joint statement between the two countries is a very significant development, and we in CII welcome this and thank the Prime Minister for making this happen. The list of outcomes which we have spoken about are just a few. As I said, the expanse and depth with which the approach has been made by the Indian Prime Minister is something at least I have never seen before. We are extremely excited and heartened by the various steps which have been taken. I will once again thank, commend and congratulate the Indian Prime Minister for having taken this, I would call it, path-breaking steps and making sure that these all become implementable in the near future, which will not only benefit the two countries, but also set the tone for the future of the relationship between the two countries. The Honorable Prime Minister has defined the path which we in industry have to follow to make the future happen. And that has always been the strength of our Honorable Prime Minister. We look forward to working to make this happen in reality at the ground level. And we in CII are very much excited and looking forward to it.
This visit of Honorable Prime Minister probably brings the US-India relationship to a new level, a level that has not been seen before. And also reinforces that our Prime Minister is one of the tallest leaders in the world. Now, what has been achieved in this visit, as far as I can make out, has probably never happened in one single visit ever to any country. And if you look at areas that have been covered, it's a wide spectrum. Geopolitical issues have been talked about, democracy, India-US relationship, of course. But I would say the biggest impact probably is in impact on technology cooperation in telecommunication, and even in space. And that's where I think some real breakthroughs have happened. For example, if you look at the HAL-GE deal, that I think is absolutely pathbreaker. This kind of technology has never been made available to India. Even if you look at things that are not getting highlights, for example, need on atomic reactor, the modular atomic reactor, that could also be a very big thing for India to have clean energy in future. India didn't have access to this technology before. You look at space, the Artemis Accord, something that we've been talking about for quite some time, is a big deal. You look at the meeting with Elon Musk, that again can be a pathbreaker for the automotive industry, the electric vehicles in India, also in the space area. So all in all, no matter how we look at it, there's every area that has been touched. We have seen some very positive things coming out. In fact, for me, sitting here, it's even difficult to keep track of all that has happened. I don't know how they manage everything in such a short visit.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi's landmark visit to the United States has been very successful, with several substantive outcomes relating to semiconductors, defense acquisitions, access to critical technology, the Artemis Accord for space cooperation, and resolution of 6 outstanding trade disputes. I'm very confident that this is the start of a new chapter in the bilateral relationship with mutual trust and convergence of views on strategic issues. It will benefit not just the two nations, but the world at large. As the Prime Minister said, the future is AI, America and India.
This visit, according to me, was one of the more important events economically and otherwise that happened. Obviously, from geopolitics and the US-India relationship, this is a very, very big step going forward. And I think India and US have come as close as we've ever been. So I think this trip was historic in that sense. But even from economic point of view, this was at the right time because, as you know, in the last few years, a lot of the global companies are looking at China plus one. Indian economy is doing very well. I think we are as well positioned with, banks very healthy, corporate balance sheets are very healthy. We want to give a boost to the manufacturing. We've started seeing iPhones are getting, assembled in India, getting exported. So India as a manufacturing hub, see, India was always a good hub from IT and outsourcing point of view. A lot of these global companies have come to India for IT, outsourcing, all of that. But India for manufacturing, this is the right time because last 2-3 years, this entire change in geopolitics, the China plus one strategy, plus India has also improved a lot. I think our physical infrastructure, our digital infrastructure, all of them have come a long way. Success stories like Aadhaar and UPI and all have been really global benchmarks that have been set. Along with that, I think India, the corporate balance sheets are very healthy. There is the capex cycle is just starting again. RBI has a lot of reserves. The bank balance sheets, the lowest NPA for a long time that we have seen are in the bank balance sheets. The government also has not spent a lot of money in COVID, so government balance sheet also very healthy. So all economic factors from a macroeconomic and microeconomic point of view are very well aligned.
Honorable Prime Minister Shri Narendra Modi ji and President Mr. Joe Biden have fostered exceptional progress in the Indo-US ties across multiple sectors and domains, including space. FICCI welcomes India becoming a signatory to the Artemis Accords. With a set of principles and guidelines for peaceful, sustainable, and transparent practices in the civilian space domain, the Artemis Accords could become a guiding star for the structured opening of the space for exploratory and economic progress for the entire mankind. We at FICCI believe that as a signatory, India, Indian space agenda, and the associated Indian industries would get greatly benefited, as this would open gates for cooperating and collaborating in space exploration with access to technologies, infrastructure, and collaborative utilization of space resources. Once again, we at FICCI welcome India becoming signatory to the Artemis Accords.
The visit of Prime Minister Modi to the United States is indeed historic. Besides the personal chemistry and warmth that President Biden and Prime Minister Modi share, there has been a great deal that has been achieved. The strategic accords with respect to semiconductors, defense, space collaboration, and even in areas like visa issues are indeed path-breaking and very significant. Prime Minister Modi, through this visit, has established that India is indeed a true friend of the United States, thereby taking the relationship of the two of the world's greatest democracies to much greater heights. The drawing in of the Indian diaspora into this whole visit has also given them much greater importance in the US economy. India will gain from the technology of the United States and make itself much more self-reliant, and the US will benefit from the number of jobs and other new opportunities that arise out of this partnership. We from industry are very excited to see what lies ahead and for the great opportunities of development, cooperation, and further economic growth between our two nations.
I think this visit will be remembered as a path-breaking visit, a trend-setting visit. First and foremost, if you look at the strategic level, a Prime Minister addressing US Congress second time in a short span of few years by itself is historic. At strategic level, it sends out a very important message that two nations wish to work together. The message goes to industrial community, business community, policymakers, and intent starts getting translated into action. This, I would say, at the strategic plane, the warm interaction between the two leaders is very important. Next level, as you very rightly pointed out, is technology. Both leaders have clearly specified that technology will be the cornerstone of the partnership. And as you rightly said, technology is cutting across the most important parts which will touch us in every sphere of life in 21st century. Space, artificial intelligence, semiconductor technology, and of course defense. These are the domains, these are the technology fields which will form the cornerstone of partnership in 21st century. Third plane, very important plane, if we say, is defense itself. The framework, how it will happen. That framework has been specified so that intention can be translated into action. There is an initiative on critical and emerging technologies called ISET, which both nations have agreed upon. Objective of ISET is to have an open ecosystem for technology based on mutual trust, based on mutual cooperation. ISET has been further supplemented by IndusX, India-US initiative on accelerating technology cooperation. IndusX will encourage academia, universities, technology institutes, startups, as well as companies in both public and private sector to work together between US and India and co-develop technologies. It is not just transfer of technology, but working together to co-develop new technologies. This initiative will be extremely important, as I can see, from the point of view of building mutual trust and comfort with each other, that we don't hesitate in sharing technology with one another if you're working together. Similarly, in defense, ties between the two militaries are already very strong. Idea is to further strengthen them, both through dialogue, joint exercises, through mutual logistic support, strengthening of foundational agreements. If you see all three levels put together, the highest strategic level where two leaders share a warm relationship, technology being recognized as a cornerstone, and third, institutional framework being set up which will facilitate this. This, I would say, has been a highly successful visit and industry will applaud it.